What's going on, y'all? What it is. So let's go ahead and slide on this topic. And listen, yesterday CNN has the whole internet in shambles, releasing that footage of Diddy actually putting paws on Cassie. It's a sad watch and pretty disturbing to say the least, but hey, it has the internet talking. It prompted me and my plug from Los Angeles to get together with a group of people. We created a panel and we actually did a Zoom to talk about this because I got an inbox from a lawyer that was asking to come on and talk about this situation with me, a solidified lawyer, not Tyrone Blackburn. You know what I'm saying? The one that's representing Lil Rod. No, a solidified lawyer. But of course, I can't play you guys the Zoom because the lawyer met me right at the door and was like, I don't want to be associated publicly with this. We're speaking behind the scenes on this. So of course I can't play that Zoom, but I do have that Zoom for my records. There was no way in the hell I was going to shoot this Zoom and basically didn't have any type of evidence if something were to happen. If I was called into question, I have things for my record to actually defend me in the court of law. So they agreed to it. But I do have an explosive, a very explosive Zoom that included a prominent attorney from a very highly reputable law firm. Now, even though this particular individual represents a reputable law firm, I still had my plug to actually fact check this because he has a connection to a lawyer, and you guys have seen this lawyer on television represent a multitude of celebrities and things of that nature. He has a connection directly to this particular person, and this lawyer that's been in the game for 40 years said that there is some solidified truth and validity to what the attorney told us last night during this Zoom call. But anyway, what I want to do right here is play you guys some more reactions to the video footage that leaked on yesterday from CNN where Diddy is putting paws on Cassie, and then I'll be back to read you all a text message that I received this morning from my plug in regards to the information that we received last night after he fact checked everything. All right, so sit tight and I'll be back.
I'm sure by now you've seen the video of P. Diddy absolutely attacking, hurting, harming, beating the absolute mess out of Cassie. And so I just want to talk about it. A lot of folks are out here constantly saying, well, why don't you just leave? Why don't you just go? You need to just get the heck out of there. Well, statistically, and through evidence, through videos and stories and experiences and things that you hear from people over and over and over again, this is the most dangerous time in a relationship, when you have decided to leave an abuser and you make a move to leave. So it's not that a lot of women don't want to leave, but it's that they understand that maybe they can't leave. And because I know someone's going to say this, well, some of these women be defending these men, blah, 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 blah. There's a little thing called Stockholm syndrome, right? Trauma bonds. As you've had trauma, abuse, verbal abuse, physical, sexual, all of that, you release cortisol, stress hormones, right? But then when a person takes away abuse, right? When they're not abusing you in a period of time and they do something even reasonably nice for you, then you begin to release oxytocin, which is a love hormone, which helps us to bond and connect. So the release of those two hormones begin to become paired when you have a person with a traumatic relationship. That is what a trauma bond is. So stress causes you to release oxytocin, and oxytocin might cause you to release stress hormones. So a lot of y'all are out here blaming people for something that is actually very biologically built into us. So we need to understand that. You have to give grace and time and safety to a person so that they can actually extricate themselves from one of these really horrible and violent situations. Then we have society's response to it, which I just cannot square myself with. This inability to understand that the abuser is to blame. As an aside, I was looking up Drake's dad because I'm not really into all of this, so I just was like, let me look up Drake's dad and just see who he is. And I ended up finding some random video where he's being interviewed by someone and he's telling women that they need to stop going up to men's rooms because these like assaults and stuff like that happen, like that women need to stop going up to the rooms. And the guy on that's interviewing him with the camera is like, well, do you think it's like a two-way thing? Like, is it both sides? And Drake's dad was like, nah, the ladies just need to stop going. So that's the second part of this conversation. The way society responds to blame the victim. There's also a psychological reason as to why a lot of people blame victims. And it comes from this underlying construct that a lot of folks have, specifically conservative thinkers, people who focus more on the past, kind of like bringing things back, staying in this place of safety, high amygdala functioning, right? So they have a very, people who think conservatively tend to have a more overactive amygdala, which is the part of your brain that helps you to remember the bad things that happen, right? So they have this underlying construct called belief in a just world. And after I explain it, you're gonna be like, yeah, I see that everywhere. Basically, a lot of these folks that are conservative have a very simplistic perspective of the world, especially when they're under stress. So they have to believe good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people. A lot of people talk about that. But what happens when the world doesn't reflect this internal perspective? What happens when a bad thing happens to somebody that maybe is quote unquote good? Because I take issue with the whole concept of good people, bad people. So something bad happens to someone good. Instead of changing your perspective on the way the world works, because that's a very drastic thing, you change your perspective on that person and you say they must be bad. So if a woman gets assaulted, you must assume it's her fault. She put herself in that situation. And the inverse is true. So you have someone that has good things happen to them, so you assume they must be good. We've had a previous president that has this happen every day. People make this mistake with him every day. Oh, he's made millions of dollars. He must be a genius. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's a belief in a just world fallacy. And even deeper underneath this is people's belief that they're also a good person. Most people tend to believe that they're good and the decisions that they make sense. And so when bad things happen to them, a lot of times it doesn't compute, which is why a lot of people will sit in this space of why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? Because they're trying to figure out, am I a bad person that somehow deserves this because of the God above is punishing me for something? What did I do so I can make this all stop? Because inherently, everything becomes about us, especially if we haven't done the work to understand that not everything is about us. So folks are out here responding to Cassie in all of these horrific ways, and hopefully seeing this horrible video will change some people's perspective, but I know it won't, because I also watch people continue to minimize the experience of Megan Thee Stallion after she got shot in the foot, and they watched the video and everyone was like pulling it apart like, oh, well, she actually didn't, and it was just a little tiny. Violence is violence. No matter how you feel about a person, when an act of violence is enacted upon them, that sucks, and that makes them a victim in that circumstance, no matter how you feel about them. A victim. So if you're a person who's making excuses for abusers, you need to begin looking at your own psychology and looking deep inside yourself and understanding, why is it I cannot empathize with other people? Why is it I blame other people for the bad things that happen to them? Because I bet you wouldn't want people to do it to you.
Yo, this video is crazy. Watch it, then leave your thoughts in the comment section.
If you've seen that horrific video, surveillance footage of Diddy punching, kicking, throwing things at Cassie and attacking her repeatedly, and you are asking yourself, after watching that hotel surveillance footage from 2016, why had it not come out until now? According to Cassie, the victim in that footage, in the lawsuit that she filed last year against Diddy, she claims that Diddy paid the hotel to get that footage, gave them $50,000, and problem solved. He was in possession of that footage. What I believe happened is, in the recent raid of Diddy's multiple properties, the government came into possession of that, and the government, somebody there leaked it, because Team Diddy had that until now, paid $50,000 for it, and everybody at that hotel in Los Angeles responsible for this should be held criminally responsible, because if they saw an act of violence, a crime being committed, they had an obligation to report that, and they didn't. Shame on them. Shame on them.
All right, so you guys just heard all of that. Now, what I want to do right now is read you something that was sent to me, because it seems as though that the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office will not be charging Diddy in regards to the footage that was released by CNN on yesterday of him putting paws on Cassie. And the statement reads, "We are aware of the video that has been circulating online allegedly depicting Sean Combs assaulting a young woman in Los Angeles. We find the images extremely disturbing and difficult to watch. If the conduct depicted occurred in 2016, unfortunately, we would be unable to charge, as the conduct would have occurred beyond the timeline where a crime of assault can be prosecuted. As of today, law enforcement has not presented a case related to the attack depicted in the video against Mr. Combs, but we encourage anyone who has been a victim or witness to a crime to report it to law enforcement or reach out to our office for support from our Bureau of Victim Services." All right, so you guys just heard all of that. Now, I knew that this was coming because, of course, he already paid Cassie and the civil suit had been settled, but I think that Cassie still can file criminal charges. I have to check with my plug and the lawyer on that, but he's not out the woods because guess what, guys? Something is going to stick. There's a multitude of things going against Diddy at this present time, and something is going to stick. But I knew the LA County was going to come with this BS, that they couldn't do anything about it, of course, because the timeline has been surpassed, and so they cannot hold Diddy responsible. But I do think that Cassie can file another lawsuit against Diddy in the state of California. But again, I'm going to check on that. Now, another thing that I want to expound on rather quickly is the fact that the hotel where this crime was committed at, they're trying to hide under the umbrella that, hey, listen, we're under new management and whatever took place in 2016 isn't on us. I feel that the individuals that were involved with receiving the $50K so that Diddy could confiscate that tape should be held responsible, and I don't care, because at the end of the day, they covered up a crime just because Diddy was a celebrity and just because he could pay $50,000 up front. So I feel like they should be held responsible too. But just like LA County responded saying that, you know, the crime was out of the jurisdiction to be prosecuted because it was based off of the timeline. Basically, they're probably going to say that this is applicable to all parties that were involved. And I say at the very least that they should be fined. Whoever was involved and received that $50K, they should be fined double or triple, and all that money should go to Cassie. That's just my personal opinion. But anyway, I want to go ahead and get into this text message that was sent to me this morning by my plug after he confirmed everything that was talked about during our Zoom meeting. And basically, before I get started, I just want to say everything that I'm about to convey to you is all alleged. And it says here, what's going on, bro? I know you probably sleep from that long Zoom we had last night, but it was lit. I mean, the entire panel was fire and the dialogue was insane. Attorney Blank, by the way, said that there is also footage of Kim Porter getting beat up by Diddy, was also backed up by Attorney Blank. And he said that it is true and the feds have that video at their disposal as well. Attorney Blank says he don't know if they will release it given that it took place back in 2013, and also out of respect for Kim being laid to rest and to also be respectful to her daughters and her immediate family back in Columbus. But when and if this shit goes to court, it could be weaponized to highlight Diddy's erratic behavior over the years and used as evidence to prove the overall wicked character of that bozo. But player, how everybody is reacting to the Cassie tape is insane, and rightfully so, but they will be in for a rude awakening when the tape of who was last seen leaving DJ Twitch's hotel before he passed, and that the paper and audio trail leads back to Diddy as well. Your effing face when he said that during the Zoom was classic. LOL. We were all in disbelief. This man has blood from many people dripping off of his foul 8 fingertips. We know bro didn't delete himself. Twitch had possession of some real deep ish, exposing Ellen's connection to Diddy, Kris Jenner, Corey Gamble, TD Jakes, Clive Davis, and the rest of the people we discussed last night. But bro, I'm gonna get some sleep. I just hit you to tell you that it was confirmed that the lawyer we had on last night was not lying about the feds having footage of Diddy attacking Kim back in 2013, and them also being in possession of footage of DJ Twitch and who was seen coming out of his hotel before he ultimately passed. Yell at you later. Send me a copy of the Zoom for my records, and don't forget to copy and paste and attach those files to send to the lawyer as well. All right, so you guys just saw and heard that information. Now, of course, our Zoom meeting last night went into further details that I can't expose because this is some very sensitive information. In due time, I will let out bits and pieces, but at the same time, I want to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's. You know how I am about that. Before I put out this information, I always have to cover my A, you know what I'm saying, so to speak, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be put into a position where I'm out here spewing out frivolous information. So everything that I talk about, everything that I read to you guys that I'm getting from my plug, I have certain documents, video evidence, and footage to back up these claims. But anyway, guys, I want you all to drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about everything that was discussed in this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.